Hi everybody, thanks for joining me today. My name is Teresa. I'm a movement artist and I teach for the PACE program in Lafayette, Louisiana. The PACE program is an arts integration program that is managed by the Acadiana Center for the Arts for the Lafayette Parish school system. Today we're going to be learning about fractions and we're going to do that with some turns. We'll learn how to do some pirouettes and some tours, and we'll do some fractions and turns together. The only thing that you need for this lesson is enough space to move safely. Don't forget you can pause this lesson anytime you need. To get started today, we are going to warm up. So let's stand up. We're going to stretch first, and then we'll learn how to do some turns. Okay, we're going to do a little stretch to get started, and then let's learn some turns. I've got some music for us. There we go. We'll start standing up. Let's turn our toes this way. So we've got our hips facing in the same direction as our toes. We'll send our arms up, reach up high with our head. Our feet are reaching down through the floor, so we've got this nice balance of energy going on. Big deep breath here. Big exhale, just feeling nice and relaxed as we fold over our leg. And let's come to a lunge. And we're going to leave this foot where it is. It might shift a little bit, mine did. And we're going to turn this way. I'm going to use my elbow to push back on my other knee. And we're working on stretching our inner thighs right now. Good. Hands go back on the floor. Let's bring this foot in. We're going to reach our knees back with our elbows. So I'm kind of pushing with my elbows here. A little bit underneath me more, because next I put my hands back and we're going to extend this side, so we're switching sides. There we go. Good. My elbows reaching back this way. Good. Now I'm going to put my hands down. I'm going to turn my back foot to face the same direction as my front foot, and now I'm folded over the second side. Our hips aren't open and they're turned to face the same direction, so our headlights are going in this direction, right? Right. Good, let's drop down. Oh, if you want to keep, I guess we had this lunge before, right? But if you want a little more challenge, get a little bit, I usually find a little bit deeper stretch in my hip. That's why I like to come up this way. You can lace your fingers this way, put your hands on your thighs, and kind of press a little bit. That can help you feel stable in this stretch. Okay, now we're going to walk it back to the front. Let's put our feet parallel. We can even turn our toes in a little bit if we want. We're going to take our hands, we're going to lace them behind us like we did before. Roll those shoulders back, reach your hands up to the ceiling, and let it take your upper body all the way over. This will give us a nice stretch in our shoulders. Oh, that feels amazing. And we're going to let go. All right, we're going to put our hands down here. We're going to walk our feet all the way down. Reaching into a nice little straddle, sitting up nice and tall. Legs are open. Belly's pulled up, top of the head reaching. We're going to stretch up and over. Really reaching my head to the ceiling and letting this shoulder open so it's lined up over this shoulder, not in front of. And we're going to turn our upper body, keeping our legs nice and turned out. Nose to our knee. that upper body to the center. Now, if you're here and this feels like a good stretch for you, that's fine. But if you feel like you can stretch a little farther and you want to walk a little bit farther, we need to make sure our body's pretty warm before we do deep stretches like this though. And we've got some blood circulating through our body. Now we're gonna walk this through to the other leg. And we'll reach up, hands behind our hips, lift our hips up. We're gonna shake our legs out a little bit. All right, let's learn about some turns now. So first thing, when you're doing turns, we're going to learn something called a pirouette and something called a tour, but first we have to learn about something called spotting. So spotting is a technique that we do so we don't get dizzy and fall down. But if we do get dizzy and fall down sometimes, like when we're practicing and learning how to do things, that is totally okay because we've got to learn how to do it, right? Yeah, so even I get dizzy and fall down sometimes, and I've been doing this a little minute. Okay, shake it out, those hips. So spotting is this technique where you use your focus. You're going to use your eyeballs and where you're looking. So you have to use your sense of sight for spotting. Now, when I spot something, I'm going to spot something that is at the same level with my eyeballs. So my eyeballs are like right here when I'm sitting. Okay, they'll be a little higher when I stand up, right? Right? So if I drew an imaginary straight line through space, I want to spot whatever object is right in front of my eyeballs, right? Now, we're gonna spot that spot, spot that spot, spot that spot. If you want to end in that spot, in that same place, we can change our spot if we're doing a lot of turns, but that's for later. So, all right, so spotting means you want to keep your eyes on that spot. Now, we're gonna do some little baby step turns. So first, we're gonna find our spot. Chin's lifted up. Find your eyeballs, draw your imaginary line. Oop, I see my thing. I'm spotting this little place on a ladder that's in front of me. Okay, so I'm going to keep my head there and my eyeballs there. Not just my eyeballs, but my whole head when my body starts to turn. So you can try this too, or you want to watch me just one time, that's cool too. So my body's turning, right? And my head can't stay there anymore with my body turning this way. So when I get to the spot where my head can't stay there anymore, I have to whip my head back around. Oh, so now my head actually beats my body back around. Okay, we're gonna try it again. Let's try turning the other direction. So I've got my head, my eyes on the spot. So my head is the last thing to leave, but the first thing to come back. Let's try one more this side. Okay, don't forget, if you want to pause the video and try it like one more time or 10 more times or a million more times, you can do that and then just come back whenever you're ready. But now we're going to learn about some pirouettes. So we're going to do some outside pirouettes, en dehors pirouettes. If you're a ballet person, you might already know what that means, but outside means we're turning away from our standing legs. So first we have something called a preparation, and what we're going to do with our preparation, we are preparing to do a turn. And when we turn, it's important to know about balancing and finding out about balancing. So preparations kind of help you figure out where you need to balance, what you need to do to balance before you get to turning. So our preparation is going to, when my feet are in fifth position, so I'm parallel here, I'm turned out like this, belly pulled up so high, opening up the front of those hips. We should be nice and open after those stretches. So our feet are in fifth. My arms are nice and round down here. Now I'm going to reach this foot out, tendu, stretch. I'm going to run to jump. I'm going to pull my belly high here. Now this back leg is going to come up to what we call passe retiré, right? Up to our knee. Find our balance. Ooh, it's a good balance day, I think. Aha, let's try that again. So we're going to reach. We're going to rotate, good. We're going to bend. guitar, sometimes I like to shift a little bit. Okay, here we go. And up. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Finding our balance. Aha. Cool. Let's try the other side. And we'll reach. We'll rond de jambe. We'll plie. Our knee's going to come up. Oh. Now sometimes, even though people are pretty symmetrical, people aren't all the way symmetrical. So when you learn to do something on one side, it might feel a little different when you do it on the other side. So you kind of have to learn how to do it on one side and then relearn how to do it on the other side. Okay. And we'll run and we'll plie. All right. And here we go, balance. And when we come down, we're bringing that foot down in front. Again, if you want to pause and rewind and look at that again and try it a few more times, you can do that and come right back. Now we're going to try to add that to our turn, to our spotting idea, or we're adding the turn and spot. Actually, so rond de jambe. First part, all of this stays the same. Now when this leg comes up, I'm going to turn towards that leg or away from the leg that I stand on, okay? But my eyeballs are on my spot and my head is on my spot. So when I turn, my head's going to be the last thing to leave and the first thing to come back. So I'm going to come up and down. When we do one turn like that, we did a single turn, we turned around one time. We don't have to push very hard. We are pushing a little bit from our plie, from our bend here, but it's really just like a little bit of a push. And we bring this arm right in. Ready? Here we go. And you can see my head. I kind of got sticky on that one. All right, let's try the other side. So now, this is our standing leg. We'll be turning away from our standing leg. Here we go. Using our spot again. So that is a pirouette. Now, I said we were going to learn tours too. So a tour is a turn, but it's actually a jump turn in the air. So we still spot, and we'll do that with a parallel foot. Let's do this. So we'll still spot, but we're going to turn in the air and come back to the same spot. So if you want to watch one time, I'm looking at my spot, I'm going to bend my knees, I'll jump, turn, and then land. And that's one tour. Here we go. Ooh, landed a little hard there. Teresa, let's try the other side. So if you want, you can use a preparation kind of like that other arm. I can help you get around a little bit or feel a little better about getting around. Here we go. All right. So if you want to practice some tours and some pirouettes, you can do that. But let's move on to fractions. Guys, let's learn about some fractions. So fractions are when you divide something into equal parts, right? It can be different numbers of equal parts, but each part has to be the same as the other. So we're going to think about fractions today by looking at a circle. So this is a circle. It is not divided at all, right? It is one whole part of a circle. So we think of the circle as one, like one circle. Okay, so I've got some other little pieces of construction paper, so I'm gonna show you an idea about like dividing. Okay, so like here's a circle again, but now it's divided into two parts. There's a purple part and a red part, but these parts are not equal, right? Right, because the purple part is way bigger than the red part. So this is not divided into equal parts. What we're doing today is dividing into equal parts. So let's check this out, and you can tell me if this is divided into equal parts. So we've got our purple circle divided into purple part and an orange part. Does that look equal to you? It's pretty equal, right? So we've got a purple part, an orange part, but they're about the same size, they're the same shape. So this is divided into equal parts. How many parts is it divided into? How many parts are there? There are two parts. So when we're writing a fraction, right? We have something called a numerator and a denominator. Okay, and so the denominator is going to go on the bottom of the line, and the numerator is going to go on top. So we write like a number, a line, and a top. So the line has to do with like it being divided. The denominator tells you how many parts it's divided in. So we're going to practice writing this. We remember this circle is divided into 2 parts. So we could write a 2. Aha, right there. Now, when we have a number up here, that is called the numerator. And that tells you how many parts of a whole we have. So, right now, this is 1/2 of a circle, right? We don't have 2/2 of a circle. We have 1/2 of a circle. So, this would be a way to write 1/2. Okay. If we had 2/2 of a circle, right? So right now we have a purple half and an orange half. How would we write that? We could write it a 2, since we have 2/2, over 2. So we know our denominator is a 2 because we have 2 pieces, right? Because that's how many parts it is divided into. And we have 2 parts. That's how many we have. So we write here. Now, if we have the same number of our numerator and our denominator, they're the same, we can say 2 divided, or the fraction, 2/2 equals 1/2. Okay, so let's take a look at our circle again. So we got our purple circle, but this time we're going to change it up a little bit. Okay. Aha, so our circle is divided into parts, right? But how many? So we've got, this isn't half anymore, right? So we can imagine how many parts our circle is divided into. This is actually, if we look at it, we can tell it's like 1/2 of a half. So that would be 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts, 4 parts. So this is not a half anymore. This is a 1/4. So we have 1/4 that is orange, and 1/4, and then 3/4 that is purple this way. So we can also divide. Now we could divide it into like a million different pieces if we wanted to. That would take a little bit of time, and we're not going to spend that much time on it. So let me see, like, for example, just show you again. So that would be 2/4, right? That would be 3/4. I'm running out of thumbs to use. Oh. There we go. Here, I'm getting it. So we would have 4/4 that way, right? Okay, so we can see our circle is divided, or we can imagine our circle being divided into 4 parts. So we would write 4 as our denominator, boop, boop, right? So what about this one? How many orange parts do we have? So we can imagine our circle being divided into 4 parts altogether. Let's try this. Let me make it a little, yeah. Aha. So how many fourths are orange? We can count 1, 2, 3. 3/4 are orange. And how many fourths are purple? 1/4 is purple. Okay, so now we're going to try to divide some of our turns, our pirouettes and tours into fractions. Okay guys, so going back to our pirouettes, let's see if we remember how to do them. So when we're doing a pirouette, we're going to think of that as our circle too, right? So if we're facing the front, facing our camera, right? And we go all the way around, to turn, that's one entire turn. So we've made, in a way, we've gone around full circle, right? A whole circle. So that would be one turn. So a way to write that would be 1 over 1, or just 1. If we were writing in a fraction, it would be 1 over 1. And that equals to 1, because our numerator and denominator is the same. So we're going to try to do one whole turn again. Let's try to the right. Boop. Coming all the way back around. Very good. But what if we wanted to do a fraction of a turn? If we were going to do a half turn, starting this way, where would our turn end up? Where would we end up facing? We would end up facing the back, right? So let's try that. Now when we spot, we're going to have our spot here, but we have to switch it to the back where it's going to end. Okay, ready? Here we go. Ooh. That was a half turn. Now let's try another half turn. Boop. Okay, so we just did one half, so we'd write that 1 over 2. And then another half, 1 over 2. If we put those together, a half and a half makes a whole, so that equals 1. Now let's try some quarter turns. So if I was going to do, a quarter is a half of a half. So if I started right here, and I'm still turning right, where would I end up? Well, it's still turning the same direction. This would be a quarter turn. Now for the next quarter turn, we would go here. The next quarter turn, we would go here. The next quarter turn, we would go here. So 4 quarters makes a whole turn. Let's try 4 quarter turns in a row. So we're going to try a little sequence with turns and with some tours, some pirouettes and some tours. So a sequence means an order, okay? So here's what our sequence is going to be. We're going to have 4 quarter turns pirouettes, okay? So a quarter, a fourth, 1/4, 1/4, and 1/4. Then we'll have 2 half turns, a half and a half. Then we'll have a single pirouette, so that's a whole pirouette. Another single pirouette, that's a whole pirouette. And then a single tour turn. Okay, so we're doing a quarter turn, a quarter turn, a quarter turn, a quarter turn, a half turn, a half turn, a single turn, a whole turn, and then a whole tour. So all of those are pirouettes at the beginning, and then our grand finale, we're going to finish with a tour, okay? So ready? We'll stay on one side, then we can try it on the other side afterwards, okay? So starting, we have our preparation, quarter turn, our preparation, quarter turn, our preparation, quarter turn, our preparation, quarter turn. Here we go, half turns. Here we go, single turns. Our grand finale, we'll go back to parallel since that's how we learned it, is a tour, a single tour. All right, great job. Let's try it on the left real quick. Okay, so our preparation will go here. That might be your right when you're doing it, if you're looking at it facing backwards. That's okay. We'll just do it on the other side, right? So we're turning away from our standing leg, turning this way, right? Boop. All right, ready, set, here we go. And quarter turn. Quarter turn, quarter turn. Here we go, half turns. Two singles, two whole turns. Grand finale is a tour. Great job, guys. Okay, so now let's see if we can figure out how many turns we did all together. Do you guys remember this sequence? We're going to write it using fractions, right? So first with the pirouettes, we did a quarter, right? So it was a fourth of a turn, right? But then we did another fourth of a turn, another fourth of a turn, another fourth of a turn. So 4 quarters. And we did 2 halves, right? So that was dividing the turn in 2 equal parts. Okay, so then we did, I'll write it down here, a half plus a half. And then we did 2 whole pirouettes. And then we did 1 tour. And that was just all on one side. So if we have 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters, 4 quarters, we know 4 over 4 equals 1. Do this. So then we had a half and a half. 2 halves make a whole turn. So that equals 1. And then we had a whole turn, and a whole tour. So all of that, 1, 2 equals 3. So now we can say 1 plus 1 plus 3 equals 5, right? But then, so the whole thing equals 5. And then we did the whole thing on the other side. So that would be 5 plus 5 equals 10. So we did 10 turns all together. All right, guys, I hope that you had some fun today learning how to do turns and learning some things about fractions. Don't forget, we'll be posting a new lesson every day at 10 a.m. on the Acadiana Center for the Arts YouTube channel. We will have lessons for kindergarten, first and second grades, and they're each tied to the academic curriculum. You can also get these lessons on AOC as part of the Learn United program. It's accessible on AOC on Cox Channel 16 or LUS Channel 4. Kindergarten lessons air at 8 a.m. and first and second grade lessons air at 9. Some lessons will be in visual arts and some in creative movement, so be sure to come back and make art with us tomorrow. If you are interested in supporting programs like this, visit acadianacenterforthearts.org. They are the nonprofit that manages the PACE program. Thanks so much, guys. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.